Today on the channel, we've got one of the most popular G.I. Joe team members of all time. We've got Flint, Retro Card version on Way I Got It Figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, figure fans? Way I Got It Figured, back with another G.I. Joe Classified Series Retro Card review. This time, we're looking at Flint, the warrant officer, originally introduced in 1985. Well, 1984 if you watch the cartoon, but he got his first action figure in the 1985 series of G.I. Joe, which would have been series 4. And he has always been a fan favorite. Whether you liked the toy, whether you liked how he was on the show, whether you liked him in the comic book, he always seemed to live up to his real name of Fairboard. -OR Fairboard. So, of course, this was a no-brainer purchase. Flint is, like I said, easily one of the top 10 G.I. Joe figures, this time with a retro card. And like Duke and Beachhead, he's got the nostalgia version, the original toy, as the inspiration. I picked up Flint on Amazon. Yes, on Amazon.com. And I've been sitting on him for a little bit, but it's just because I've been trying to get to all the reviews. Couldn't really hold out any longer. Wanted to get him up before we get back to the actual numbered figures, which we have plenty of those to go over as well. So today it's going to be the main man, Flint. So looking at his package, he has some of the most horrible card art I've ever seen. Looks like they're doing this new AI thing, and Hasbro released 82 variant cards, and people are selling them for $1,000 on eBay and everything like that. But to me, even that 82 variants, even that card art sucked. So I don't know, whatever. Any Flint that I got, whether it was on the other card or this card, was going to meet the same fate, which is I was going to open it. So good thing I got the regular one. Actually, I got this before they even announced that. That's how long I've had them. So I was really never in the offing for me to get it anyway. But still, it's retro inspired from his original card art, which was way better. But we're not going to fuss over the card art. Flint is looking really cool. He's got his extra hands like Duke. And you got his file card on the back. Flint, -OR Fairboard, or Fairborn -OR. Role warrant officer, which isn't a thing. Primary military specialty infantry. Secondary military specialty helicopter pilot. Birthplace Wichita, Kansas. A former Rhodes Scholar and thorough tactical planner, Flint personally led half a dozen rescue missions in hostile territories that, for obvious reasons of security, were never publicized, let alone admitted to. So Flint, indeed, was a Rhodes Scholar. He also went to Special Forces School, Ranger School, Airborne School, all the usual elite things that the elite guys in G.I. Joe tend to do before they become G.I. Joe team members. Of course, you've got your cross cell here, which is Cover Girl and the Televiper. I have not gotten the Televiper, and I'm still trying to decide whether I'm going to. I do have the one with the trouble bubble, so I just don't know how many Televipers I need. So as a press time, I don't have one. But I don't know. Maybe I'll pick them up because I'm bored or something. All right, that's our look at the package. We're going to get Flint out and check him out. All right, so we got Flint out of the package with all of his stuff. And, sort of like Duke, they kind of went all out with this guy. I believe he is a partial of Duke. The shirt with the airborne logo is the giveaway. Then he's got the best legs in the business, which is the OG 13 Stalker, Retro Card Snake Eyes, Beachhead, etc. legs. Seems like their favorite legs to give everybody is either these or the Outback legs of late. But because of the boots, they allow you to get that retro look of how Flint's boots looked back in the day. So I think it was a good choice. He's actually got the drop down holster with the connector instead of it just being an extra holster. Um, you know, in 1985, they started having these drop down holsters that were like Han Solo's holster. And Snake Eyes had one too, but they haven't given Snake Eyes a figure that actually has a drop down like that just yet. But it is nice to see it on Flint. Of course, he's got his signature shotgun shells, and he's got a watch. I mean, he looks exactly like a 1985 Flint just brought into present day. They went as far as to give him his exact backpack. So this is a replica of the Flint backpack from 1985, complete with the dynamite on it and a little bit of paint, of course. They even gave him the best they could, a shotgun that resembles his shotgun that he had back in the day. I do think we've seen this before, but I can't remember who it came with. Two fisted hands, a pointy hand, and a gripping hand, which are Cobra Commander hands. So he has the same hands as Cobra Commander. Therefore, those pegs will translate. Um, you know, if I had any bug with G.I.Joe Classified series, they have so many different hand pegs. It's not universal like Marvel Legends where you can swap out the hands. Of course, he's got his beret, and at least from here looks the same. But we'll have to check in against the other Flint, which we'll do here in a bit. But first, we're going to get him geared up. Be right back. All right, so I got Flint geared up, but I did forget one thing, one very important thing. He has a M1911A pistol. It's got an extended clip, but it's one of the ones that looks actually like an M19A11 pistol. The only two that I know of that actually look like the gun that they're supposed to be is the one that comes with Chuckles and the one that comes with Spirit. I don't have either of those figures for comparison for this, but I'll be checking into it later to see if this is either new or if it's one of those. But it's nice that it's an actual, 1911A rather than the weird gun they gave Duke, say for example. So we're going to go ahead and holster that. And now we got our man Flint, man, the myth, the legend, geared up, ready to go on one of those rescue missions. I do think he looks pretty cool. Looks a little bit older than the other Flint. There is something I'm probably going to try out for the review, but we'll see. So we're going to not waste a bunch of time and get into a couple of comparisons. All right, so for comparisons, we've got Flint with his earlier self, and I can tell just by looking at him, the beret is actually different. And then we've also got Retro Card Lady J. And we all know the relationship between Flint and Lady J. Now, I've always thought that Flint, the number 25, Flint, 24, either 24 or 25. Lady J is either 24 or 25. They come right with each other in the order. I've always thought Flint was one of the better looking ones. You know, updated to look like his classic self, but updated for today's kind of deal. But, you know, obviously being a 80s kid, I think the retro card figure looks better. So we're going to move on to final thoughts. Final thoughts on G.I. Joe Classified Series Retro Card Flint. Yeah, I think he's good. I think he's, you know, another fine addition to the retro card collection. I think he's a great upgrade from the original Flint, who was a pretty good figure, enough that I even bought the Tiger Force version. And I need to find the Tiger Force version's head. I have an extra Tiger Force version head. That's how I know the head, at least at some point, comes off. And I'll try it then in another video. I'll show Flint again. You know, I'm sure to see him again. So I'll probably do it at some other time. But for what we get, I mean, I think it's a great, you know, I mean, you know, certain figures get love letters written to them when they do upgraded versions of them. I would say Duke got one, retro card Snake Eyes, you know, even Beachhead, CoverGirl. Some of the retro card figures are pure upgrade, like sheer upgrades over what you got originally. In form and function, and this Flint is one of them. So you love to see it. I'm going to go ahead and give Flint a 10. I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10. This is a great figure. I'm super happy to get it. Now, Flint isn't necessarily, I mean, he's one of my top 10 favorite G.I. Joes. Sure, he's in the top 10, but he's probably like low top 10. But the figure is exquisite. I think it's a great figure. So, and coming soon, we're going to have a top 10 G.I. Joe classified, well, not a top 10 G.I. Joe classified series list. We're going to have a top 10 G.I. Joe team members list. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to leave it there. So next time, everybody stay safe. Happy collecting. See you on the next video. Peace.
The way I got it figured.